said some wounds are invisible, but they cut deeper than any knife. And the cruelest wounds are made by the people we call our own. Pause. The story begins with a young woman named Emily. She grew up in a small, quiet town surrounded by fields of corn and wheat that stretched as far as the eye could see. Her father, Thomas, was the pillar of their family, a man of honor who believed in fairness and truth above all else. Emily adored her father. She followed him everywhere, to the fields, to the town market, even when he went to settle disputes among neighbors. Thomas wasn't rich, but his wisdom made him respected. And he often told Emily, soft, "One day, all this land will be yours. Not because it is valuable, but because it carries the story of our family. Promise me, you'll protect it." Emily nodded every time, her young eyes filled with determination. She believed her father's word was law, that nothing could ever take away what was rightfully hers. Moved life was simple until the storm came. Not from the sky, but from within the family. Emily's uncle Victor was different from Thomas. He was sharp, cunning, and obsessed with wealth. Where Thomas saw legacy, Victor saw profit. Where Thomas saw family, Victor saw competition. When Thomas fell ill, the cracks widened. Emily was just 20 when she sat by her father's bedside, holding his hand as his voice trembled with weakness. Said Emily, the world is not always kind. Promise me you'll fight for what is yours. Don't let greed steal your future." Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "I promise, Father." Within days, Thomas was gone. The funeral was filled with weeping neighbors, but Victor stood in the corner, silent, his eyes colder than the winter wind. Emily didn't notice then, but his mind was already scheming. Pause. Weeks later, Emily received a letter summoning her to a lawyer's office. She thought it was about transferring the land to her name. But when she arrived, her Uncle Victor sat there, smug, with a stack of papers in front of him. The lawyer read aloud. The land, according to these documents, had been signed over to Victor before Thomas's death. Emily's heart stopped. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Said, "This is a lie!" she cried. "My father would never do this. He promised it to me. He gave me his word." Victor leaned forward, his voice like poison. Angry. "Words don't matter, Emily. Paper does. And I have the papers." Her hands shook as she looked at the signatures. They looked like her father's, but deep down she knew. They were forged, emotional. That night, Emily walked the fields alone. The land felt different, like it was slipping away from her fingers. She knelt down, pressed her hands into the soil, and whispered, "Father, I will not let him win. I will keep my promise to you." But she had no money, no power, no allies, just her truth and her determination. Emily's battle was not just for land. It was for dignity, for her father's memory, for justice. She began her fight, but the world seemed against her. Neighbors who once respected her father now turned their faces away. "Victor has the papers," they whispered. "The law will be on his side." Every night she cried, but every morning she rose again. Fueled by her father's words echoing in her heart, she visited old friends of Thomas, hoping someone had evidence. She searched through boxes of letters, journals, and even old farm receipts. Weeks turned into months, but hope flickered dimly, moved. And then, one day, she found it. In her father's desk, hidden beneath layers of dust, was a letter addressed to her. In it, Thomas had written with his own hand, "Emily, I leave everything to you. Do not trust Victor. Protect what is yours." Tears blurred her vision as she clutched the letter. This was more than paper. It was her father's voice reaching out from the grave. Determined, Emily gathered her courage and took the letter to court. Standing across from her uncle, she felt small, but her resolve was unshakable. Victor's lawyers mocked her. "This is just a note, a sentimental piece of paper," they sneered. But Emily stood tall, angry. "This is not just a note. This is my father's will, his truth, his legacy." The courtroom battle was long and brutal. Victor used his money to twist the truth, to bribe, to delay. But Emily refused to break. Witnesses came forward. Old friends of Thomas who testified about his promise. A handwriting expert examined the signatures on Victor's papers and declared them forged. Piece by piece, Victor's lies began to crumble. Soft. And then came the day of judgment. The judge looked at Emily, then at Victor, and delivered the verdict. The land belonged to Emily. Justice had been served, relieved. Emily wept, not just for the victory, but for the promise she had kept. She walked back into the fields, the soil warm beneath her feet, whispering, "Father, I did it. I kept your word." Her uncle's greed had cost him everything: his reputation, his honor, even his family. But Emily walked away with something greater than land. She carried her father's spirit, her own strength, and the lesson that even in betrayal, truth has the final word. Soft. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to Whispers of Truth. Like, share, and comment to support us. Your support means everything.